Looks like it's live now. And then can I pop up the Discovery like that if I want to? Or no? The Discovery's in that. Yeah, I can't pull the vision. That's fine. No problem. No problem. Thank you so much. I'm on. I'm on. Broadcasting live. Thank you. Hello. This is me. I'm live. Tabitha Jane. I just had my son, aka tech support, help me get this going. I'm just not great at getting all of it together. Like, I'm old. I'm 50. It takes a while, right? So how is everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I just woke up an hour ago. Hi Chris, how are you? Did you have any questions you wanted to ask me? I let me see here. I am old. I'm 50. I'm the big 50. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like because I've spent so many years indoors being sick that I'm only 40. Because if you combine the time in bed, or just, sleeping beauty, then maybe I'm only 40, right? Um, I had to have the big 50-year overhaul, getting my shoulder fixed and my teeth fixed. Just put in almost $10,000 to fix my freaking teeth. Um, and I was telling my dentist, I was like, it's like, look, I went over 20 years with no cavities, so obviously something is wrong. It's in the environment or something in the water or something because there's no reason for, me to like need all this dental work when I had 20 years with no cavities. And he goes, that is because your teeth were new. Of course it's going to take that long for them to break down. He's like, you need to brush your teeth better at night. And I'm like, oh, I hate the teeth brushing at night. And I snack so bad at night. That's my big problem too. So Chris, we haven't gotten through all the videos on the Discovery, but you do have a lot to say. Well, come on, you got the floor, babe. Um, it's just me and you right now. So ask me any questions you want. It doesn't matter if it's a spoiler alert or not. The Discovery series is a lot. I mean, I did it in 42 parts, and each part is 2 to 3 hours. So I wanted to just front load all of that. So if people have questions or they want to listen, it's all there. But I never expected anybody to get past like the first one or two or anything like that. I just wanted to lay them out so then we could do some lives more and whatnot. Um, After I got to the end of it, I was so disappointed because it doesn't end right. It just ends. It doesn't show how the things that they were investigating turned out. They got the sample. Well, spoiler alert. Towards the end, they did get a sample of the what was in the Thrive, and they sent it to the laboratory for testing, and that was it. There was no results of it. Um, Towards the end, I don't know if you got to this point, but I found that Cece tested positive for amphetamine. It was in her liver, which means that she had to have had it and metabolized it. It was not in Bella. It was definitely in her. In SW's blood alcohol level was 3 times that of the legal limit. there's no way that could be from decomp. And so what they did in the end is they kept um, interviewing all of her friends to see how much she usually drank. Well, what difference does it make? If she went in there and she was ready to just, bring up holy hell, she walked in, maybe Chris was asleep. She walked in, started downing enough alcohol that she was not caring if this was her last night on earth. And she went in and she basically, I believe what the first confession, I believe that she went in there and was like, if I can't have these kids, nobody can. Based on kind of like how my personal experience was, that I just uploaded a video. It's kind of random thoughts, and if you listen to it, I kind of go into it. But I think she went in there and I think she did it. I totally agree with you that say that you do think that she took something, maybe trying to terminate the pregnancy, and most likely killed the kids. Chris panicked and took the. I completely agree. That is my theory. It is the theory that fits. It is the theory that is most understandable. People who have not looked into this, who have only read the headlines, and right now there are a lot of creators, even currently, that I just saw a couple of them go through my feed, where they blame the affair. They say that, if NK wouldn't have came along, SW and the girls would be alive. And there is a part where he says that upon reflection, and he says, yeah, if she wouldn't have came along, and that's the thing. Yeah, if she wouldn't have came along, maybe he would have continued to take the abuse, but for how long? How long before he would have snapped? And I do believe that he snapped, she was out of control. They were in this boiling pot, just like a frog, I don't know. I mean, they say they cook them like that, and just slow roll and then up and it's boiling over. Something boiled over, It makes the most. Now, what I have a problem with is I don't know if you listened to my video where I showed in there, based on the skeletal measurements of the fetus at autopsy, she was lying about how far along she was. She was saying she was 4 weeks ahead of what she was actually. And if you do the math on it, you can show that that's where she was on one of the Thrive vacations that Christopher Watts was funding, that he didn't know that he was funding. And there's a picture of her with the other Chris. And she's in that leopard dress, and it says this leopard dress never fails. So there's a picture of her with another man, and if you line up the dates, that lines up perfectly with the date of conception based on skeletal measurements of the fetus. I know that people came at me and they were like, no, because there would be breakdown of the fetus and everything like that. And I'm like, no, I went from the skeletal measurements, from the rump to the crown, which is, the skull, and the feet measurements. And, I too, I see that you said that you watch this case on the news in real time and you're baffled by it all. You've been following it for all these years and you had many theories and listened to a lot, and this theory makes the most sense. I completely agree with you. I saw it in the news and I was mortified just like anybody else. I saw it and I was like, oh, those men, they're dirty, rotten pigs. You turn your back on them, let them play house, and this is what they do. Oh, how could they do this? My gosh, she's so alive and vibrant. Look at her. How could this happen? I fell for it. I absolutely fell for it. And then after a while, I looked at it again. Just something was kind of gnawing at me. Like, how did this happen? How long was she out of town and whatnot? And then I saw it was like she was a stay-at-home mom, and then the kids went to the daycare. And I'm like, stay-at-home mom implies that you're staying at home. And the thing about a stay-at-home mom is, I hate that it feels like stay-at-home moms have to feel like they have to work as well. Because if you are truly a dedicated stay-at-home mom, that is a job that is 24/7. You're dedicated to your family, the home, the husband. It is an unpaid, unrespected job that should be more admired than it is, but the pressure now for people to make an income and be a stay-at-home mom is really tough on us women because we have no break. We're supposed to still keep the house and everything, and then that, and I mean, it's tough. Hi, Mrs. Peacock. I am right now discussing the Watts case. I just finished up a 42-part session of reading the entire discovery. Um, it, I got the oldest version of the discovery that I could, so that it had the most chance of being accurate and less redacted. The more that the no one that the the more that the cases came, the more that the discoveries came out, they all were 1,690 pages, but they just kept redacting more. Probably after the first one came out and people saw that there was information about them or their business and whatnot, they probably called and had that redacted by the court. So they probably just kept crossing out more and more lines. That's what I can say. I know that there are supplements to the discovery, and I've not gotten through all of that. I did narrate the bankruptcy in full entirety because that had a lot of legends about just being full of medical bills and whatnot. And unless the doctors were at Macy's and JCPenney's and Home Depot and everything else, no, there was very little that were actual medical bills. So there you go. So, um, I agree, Chris. I think the theory makes the most sense, and we go for his side, her side, and what happened that night. Talking about anything on either side is not talking about what happened that night. And then you go and you bifurcate into um, what happened with the legal system and due process, proof, nothing. I realized he signed over everything, but as I went through, you'll be able to see Cindy Watts said that Christopher was not allowed to have any phone calls or receive any letters from the night that he confessed until sentencing. And that seemed really weird to me because why wouldn't he, right? Well, it Christopher told her that he had not heard or anything from her or anybody saying anything, that when he came back from court that day after accepting the plea, there was a stack of all of the letters on his bed. And as I read through the discovery, they were scanning his letters and they're in there. The people who were writing him kept saying things like, just tell me if you don't want to, get these. Just don't accept one. Just don't accept one. Just tell me. So you could see that the people who were writing going, why aren't you writing back to me? So it really does show that, and he was not under any behavior, what do you call it? He was a model prisoner, so he was not under any type of behavior thing that would stop him from being able to receive his mail. So he had no idea that there were people saying, hey, we want to hear your side. And the Dirty South was known, right? Okay, that's the thing, is that I did just put up the another commercial because somebody asked me about the commercial for the Dirty South, and I put up a commercial, and I was like, you can just see, it's like it's funny. I mean, it's people want to have this like where she acted like she was so innocent and so sweet and talk. She worked, and you see what she was in the Dirty South. It's a character on its own. It's got the music, it's got the image, it's got that I mean, I think it's probably something that people who live in that area know that, okay, if you work there and you know that. So Miss Peacock, you went down the rabbit hole too. Yeah, you need a rope up because I am so deep in this rabbit hole. I know, Chris. I mean, no, that, and the thing is that he is so, Christopher Watts was so incredibly shy, and she'd put the camera on him. I mean, my husband tries to do that shit, at dinner and whatnot. He's like, smile. I'm like, if you post this, you won't see the light of day. I'm like, I don't want the camera on me. I don't, I'm the one taking the pictures. And I think he was like that. And it was just, Mrs. Peacock, you can sure share your theories. I don't mind anything. You're welcome to share what you think here. Um, the one where you see NK on camera, her police interview with her dad. Her dad is freaking scary. Okay, I don't know what I wish they would have shown. I don't think they ever showed him, but he talks like he's like from the CIA, and he has this intimidating tone to those police where he doesn't really need to raise his voice, but what he says is very, very calculated, and he takes control over that room. And you could just tell that NK was a daddy's girl because she ran to daddy, and daddy had to, hear all of the dirty details, Don't talk about Jim. Don't bring Jim in. You know, um, I don't, Chris, I agree with you. I don't think NK knew. I agree. I used to think she was involved as well. And NA is deep in this. NA needs to tell the truth because why was she going and getting the mail? Whenever Shanann was out of town, she would have NA go get the mail so that Christopher wouldn't see that their house was in foreclosure. Okay? That's a felony. So, how did NA feel comfortable enough to commit a felony every day for her friend and then never speak up on it? And she was there at 9 o'clock in the morning. She was there at 9 o'clock and tried to get in that door. And she yelled and yelled and yelled. And that's why she didn't yell when the cop came in. And that's why that one dispatch report in the discovery shows that log that she called at 9 o'clock. She called and said that she hadn't made it to her doctor's appointment before the doctor's appointment was supposed to have even occurred. And I agree. I agree, Mrs. Peacock, about how and I was so worried right away and then claimed to be your bestie and then didn't even know her birthday, right? And then as she never congratulated NA on her new marriage. Well, the thing is that the way that it goes is that Shanann's mom was friends with NA. So NA became kind of like this big sister uh, spy for Sandra. Sandra. Um, and so it's kind of like, okay, you're here, you're watching me, you're my. I don't know. I mean, the fact that she was all bitchy when they went to her on her own, and she was like, I've already said what I'm going to say. I'm not coming in. I have to go to work. What are you going to do? Arrest me? Are you going to arrest me if I come down? So, see, she was fine if she was going under Sandra's Master of Puppets game. And when Sandra was telling her what to say and do, she was fine. But the second that the cops got her alone and called her on her own, she was rude. Rude. And hi, Country Sunshine Gal, how are ya? Oh, you're eating Panda Express with your daughter and saw my life, so I thought you're. Hi, how are you? I really like the Panda Express too. I really do. It's good stuff. Um, I think that okay. So in the end, sort of the discovery, I had to admit that I had made a mistake in my information that I had purported. I had not seen, and I've carried 6 babies. My 5th and 6th are twins, so it was a very complicated pregnancy from the word go, and with my 4th, I had an obstructing kidney stone and had to have surgery during the pregnancy, and I was septic. So I've had so many ultrasounds that I knew enough to see that the ultrasounds that were being posted of the 3rd pregnancy were not accurate to when they were being posted. So I had stated that I did not believe that SW had had any prenatal care nor had any ultrasound of any kind, so there was no way that she could have known the sex. Now, I had to apologize for that misinformation that I said because as I read the discovery later on, I did see that there was a private company, Flatirons Ultrasound in Colorado, that came forward and said that and gave security footage of SWNA and Chris Watts together in the waiting room for a private ultrasound the Thursday or Friday before um, the unthinkable. Now, that is a very private moment to see your baby for the first time. Why did she have to have NA there? Oh, so NA could get the envelope to tell the gender. Okay, oh yeah. It wasn't because she was afraid that, they were going to get on the ultrasound and say, wait a minute, you're only this far along. Your due date is this. You're not. Yeah, she had NA's big fat butt right there so that nothing could be said, that was to the contrary. She had her big fuff protector with her. And now the problem I have, there was an ultrasound. We can show that. From that ultrasound, the determination of sex was supposedly given to NA. Okay? SW said that she wanted something to cheer her up, so NA told her early. Then she told Christopher when she was out of town in Arizona. Okay? So when she was in Arizona, she talked to Christopher Watts and said, aren't you happy you're having a boy? Oh, yeah. And he said, yeah, but let's not tell anybody until Monday. I don't want the family to know or anybody to know. Now we know what happened Monday. She was missing. That is the day that the sex of the baby was supposed to come out. I understand that there was a little Facebook thing that came out about it being a boy because I see other people answering. But to that point, there had not been anything about gender or otherwise. And you see all of these things are saying, oh, it was well known that the Watts were having a boy. And, oh, yeah, Christopher Watts wanted this because it was his boy and all this stuff. You see that these news sources did not check for the truth. One of the things that they showed was this ultrasound for Father's Day. So in June, and it was a full-grown ass toddler in the ultrasound. I'm going, there is no way that the baby was that size in June. What's going on? She's fudging ultrasounds. So that's where it was. Now, this person with the private ultrasound did not, and it may be in a part of the discovery that is covered up or whatever, or redacted of what they saw on that ultrasound, but it doesn't prove that the baby was a boy there. She wanted to say it was a boy because that was her lifeline to keep Christopher interested and engaged until that baby was born, and then she could con him into taking care of the baby just like she did with the others. So I shouldn't say I'm sure, I feel that it was going to be, she was keeping it along that, oh, it was a boy. And then it was going to be like, what? It's not? Oh, it was the umbilical cord between her legs. Oh, let's name her Nicole. Get it? Hi, Big Mama. How are ya? The pills. Chris, what do you mean where it says she had the pills or she was going to do it? Do you mean where you felt that she was going to end her life on that day or try to hurt the baby? And yes, Big Mama, there's something completely and totally left out. Absolutely, there's an untold story. Oh, Chris, another trial? There was no trial. Honey, he didn't have a trial. There was no trial. He did that confession that night where he said that he walked in on her unaliving the girls and he unalived her. And then he was put in jail and then accepted a plea. He gave up his right to a trial. He gave up his right to due process. He gave up all rights. There was no trial. So to get a trial would be a start, and let's see here. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Chris. Sorry, I knew you knew what it meant, but yeah, how he pled. But I mean, it's so frustrating to me, as to what did he have to lose? They want to act like the Roos were so benevolent and saying, "Oh, we don't want another tragedy out of this. Please don't give him the death penalty." And it was like, "Oh, okay, thank you, Roos. You're so wonderful." No, 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 no. And and not even an appeal. So what he could do right now, and there are other creators out there with misinformation. What he could get is called a 35C. So a 35C is when somebody is sentenced for a capital offense if there is new and unknown information about the case that comes up. They are allowed to have a trial. It's under a 35C. A few years ago, several creators riled up and they went to Colorado and they went to the Watts and they went everywhere and they said, "Hey, we've got to get him to do this because he only has 3 years to get this. He's got 3 years." And I don't know what all was done, what wasn't done. A lot of people got into a lot of fights, a lot of drama in that. But the culmination was he missed the deadline for the 3 years. I believed that as well. I researched it, and no, there is no statute of limitations on a 35C when it involves capital murder, especially 4 charges of it. So at any time he wants to rise up and say, "Hey, this information was not known to me or anybody at the trial," such as the financials of her not paying the house payment and her funding all of those, or allegedly funding all of those MLM getaways with his money, which is why the house was in foreclosure. Um, all of that, the lies, the deceit, him easily could have gotten a diagnosis of PTSD, battered spouse syndrome, etc. But um, he has not risen up. He is happy in his little cell, it appears. He may be like a turtle of a man, and he just likes to crawl into his shell and just be left alone. And that's sad because he's now used to being institutionalized. I don't think his life was that much different living with her, quite frankly. Um, Now, many creators came out and said that. So then when I came out and said there is nothing, anybody can research it. And there is actually a statute specific to Colorado that, because there was like a 2016, I think a 2016 issue where people didn't think that the 35C applied in Colorado. And it absolutely does. And it is restated. So people say that he can't go back to Colorado because of all of the threats and whatnot. And he was moved to Wisconsin under the explanation for security concerns. I've read all of the letters that were sent to him, and I read, and you'll hear it in the end of the discovery and throughout the discovery. Yes, there was another prisoner that heckled him. There was a female prisoner who said that she knew Shanann and the girls. There were some letters that were written by different people, or they put different names on it, but you could see the same handwriting was there, and it'd be like, "Christine," like Teen, "we're gonna get you and we're gonna do this," and blah blah blah. But that was maybe 10% of the letters that were there. The other 90% were encouraging him to speak on his own and wanted him to just be a pen pal. He didn't engage when people heckled him, so he's a very low risk, just as anything. Um, Now, yeah, Chris, NA knew about that bottle of oxycodone in her purse. As it is stated down the road, when the police got the subpoena to find out about the appointment she was supposed to have in the OB side of that clinic, it was also stated that she had not even seen her regular doctor for at least 2 years, probably, I think it was 3. So there was nobody on record that was prescribing that oxycodone for what she had in her purse. To be prescribed oxycodone during a pregnancy is a very big issue. It needs to be extremely monitored, controlled. You would have a condition that would not warrant you to be able to get on endless airplanes and go out of town. So she was taking the oxycodone refilling the oxycodone, however she was getting the oxycodone. We don't know, but there's no way that that one bottle of oxycodone was lasting her that long when Christopher himself did admit to um, giving her a smoothie and putting in 3 or 4 of the oxycodones. I don't know. He thought that he was going to do something with the smoothie. That does not fare well for him. And that would go to premeditation. That's something that could come out in the trial and lock him under the jail. There are many things that go for and against his innocence. When I say innocence, it means we have in our system where you can have an affirmative defense and you can say, yes, I did it. Here is why. Okay? And it can be temporary mental insanity. It can be you thought your life was in danger. It can be because you were in shock because you just saw your 2 little girls murdered. So he could still say, go with his original confession and not be sentenced to 4 counts of murder, because I don't understand how it went from his confession to accepting 4 counts. There's nothing that ties one to the other. Now, I know when he had the interview with Tamburglar and Coder in Wisconsin, he came up with this story about how, oh yeah, the girls, oh yeah, they kept, and they kept walking up and I'd have to unalive them again. And they were awake the whole time, and they were like, I don't think he knew what he was talking about. I think he's been alone for too long and he had to try and find something that measured up in his mind to what he did. Because the evidence is not there to prove it. And exactly, Big Mama, where it says NK's response was about SW being unalived. It was something like, if not now, eventually would be. And it tells her something going on. I agree. There's more to this. There is something more going on. I don't think the NK was there. I don't think she had anything to do with it. Did she know? Was she saying that because she saw how controlled and unhappy he was? I don't know. Oh, Chris, I go through that too. And I'm like, why? 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 Did you have some kind of episode where you just took it? I was like, yeah, I think so. Where he was just like, I'm here. I don't have to deal with Sandra calling all the time, Hi, Lily Eve. And hi, Charlie. Yeah, the thriving was so ridiculous. The fact that Cece tested positive for amphetamine, I proved that in the discovery. It's in the toxicology. It was not in Bella. There are allegedly counts that some substance in whatever was being taken to make him have that much energy had a natural amphetamine in it. And I don't know why that was not explored more. Lily, were you watching Neek's Peaks? I think Neek's Peaks does the best job of really showing what was going on in Shanann's own words, her own videos, her own posts on Facebook. Neeks works really hard to go and get the copyright rights for those. And she's an amazing creator in how she does this. And she gets a lot of flack because people are like, you're too harsh. She's showing what SW was doing. That was too harsh. Her parenting was really, really bad. She was like a bad babysitter. She really was. People say she's such a good mother. She's a good mother because she's micromanaging her kids and husband to the fact that to the point where there's no happiness. Yes, Lily, where Bella pulled Cece down by her ear to sit down when they were playing with their mini. Where would where would Bella have learned that behavior? If you go back to Neek's Peaks, there is some, and I think Kelly on What's the Obsession did some good stuff too, where it shows Shanann doing this, where it's pinching the ear, pinching them, getting really close in their ear, and that's when she threatened Bella with another haircut. She said, "Do you want another haircut?" Like that when Bella was misbehaving. And you could see that Bella was becoming Chris Watts and just so subservient and just doing everything she could to appear as small and non-threatening as she could be. Chris, I agree. To some point, because I don't believe that they actually did the deed. I don't think they had sex. I don't know. I mean, I think she walked in. He was asleep. She started down in whatever it was to get her blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. And people say, "Oh, that's from decomp." Why did they spend so much of the end of the discovery going around investigating how much she drank if that's normal decomp? Why did they have a press conference immediately after the release of the discovery to discuss her blood alcohol level? It's because they couldn't believe it. When they saw it, they were like, "Oh no, this means this fits for what Christopher Watts said." Christopher Watts didn't know that she was in an alcoholic rage. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that. That you just found my channel last week. I really appreciate that. Um, so Lily, what's the Obsession channel? Okay, it's WTO, and the creator's name is Kelly, and she's amazing. She's got what, her master's in behavioral. I don't know. She's just a very very educated lady, and I just adore her. She was able to really create what she wanted in the beginning. And so if you go to the beginning, she really has a lot of stuff. Now, from there were a couple of people, and they went for her job. Kelly's a hardworking single mother, and she has an amazing job. And these two went for her job, and it was really terrible. So Kelly got intimidated to the point where she has to say what others want her to conform to say. And I feel bad because I don't feel like she can speak as freely as she wants to. When I did, so I did not believe that what, I did not believe that the things that SW was doing would be in any book. And she cited the book Baby Wise. So I went and bought the books Baby Wise. And they said nothing close to what she was saying, what the books were saying. In fact, they said quite the opposite of what she was doing. But because when anybody would question her, she's like, "Oh no, I read it in Baby Wise." And people are like, "Oh gosh, I don't read all those parenting books. I suck as a parent. You're better." "Oh yes, well, okay, you got him on this routine. You got him on this routine. Okay." So when I did that, unbeknownst to me, the creator from What's the Obsession, Kelly, had also done that, but she hadn't gotten around to doing the presentation because she's really talented in how she does things. So she had me on the panel so we could talk about it, and I was attacked ridiculously by the ones in her chat that are bullying her. And I didn't back down, and it got really ugly. And I told Kelly that she's being pushed too far, that, she should be able to express what she wants on her channel. And I didn't feel right about it. And I continued to get pummeled by, there are just two of them on there, and they're just awful. But they bully. Now, I am not monetized. I've never made a penny on anything I've done. You have to get over 1,000 subscribers to even begin to get any kind of advertising money. And then other creators that don't qualify to get monetized, they put out their wish list, and they put out all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. They have people sending that or whatever. I've been accused a lot lately of of I'm doing this because I'm making so much money. And believe you me, I've not made a cent. I've done this all on my own. I have I have put in probably I'm down about $3,000 if you put in how much I would have made um, by doing this and the hundreds of hours that I put in. I'm not doing this for any other reason than for the fact that I want to make sure that there's a judicial system for my legacy, that if my children were ever accused of something that they didn't do, that they would have a right to due process. They would have rights, that they would be treated correctly, that my children, my grandkids would not be put away for something they didn't do because somebody formed a narrative and set them up and made them feel that they could not talk themselves. Having a system that put him away like that without the proof scares me, and it should scare every single American. And for everybody who comes out there and says that, oh, I'm bashing a dead woman, all that, knock that off. The reason why it was first started to not talk about the dead because they can't defend themselves came from the Catholic Church. And if you think about that, why would that have been? That's because little boys were coming forward talking about the priests that were no longer alive and what they had done to them. That's where that stemmed from the Catholic Church. It didn't come from any other doctrine of where, you can't say the truth for what it is, no matter when it is. If it is the truth, are you not supposed to talk about childhood abuse because that person is dead, because they can't come and defend themselves about abusing you? It's no different. He was abused, and we have the proof. Um, I agree, Chris, that the sex could have gotten out of control, and she was just in a rage. I get it. I really do get it. Um, and hi Rose, a lot of creators have backed down from the abuse, and it is absolutely because of the crazies that are bullying. And they're not bullying the correct people. I saw this thing last night, and it's like what was this creators, and she is pushing this narrative that the Watts are these greedy people that sued for the insurance and all of this stuff. I'm like, did you not see the point where the Rusiks got a $6 million judgment on Christopher Watts's estate? That while he was in jail within the first week, Frankie Rusick, her father, got power of attorney on everything for all of the monies that would be coming in, and they took money for their emotional state and all this stuff. The Watts didn't sue for life insurance. And this woman's sitting there, and she's got a British or Australian accent, and she's sitting there looking in the camera like she's actually telling the truth. And I was like, my God, people are believing this? What's her, I don't know. Let's see. And then it starts here, and there's this comment on it too. It says, it's terribly cruel the Watts family continued to torture the Rusick family after all they've endured in their immense and unimaginable losses. One would think the Watts would do anything to make the Rusick families live easier in any way they could, rather than drag them through the courts simply for profiting on what their son did with his bare hands. It's actually quite putrid of them. I feel the Wattses feel insuperior to the Rusicks, and covert narcissists do not like to feel so. I'm grateful Sandra Rusick is an incredibly strong woman, and Frank Sr. an incredibly strong gentleman who have faith. It's no one's business what the outcome of this case was. However, I do hope the court ruled in favor of the Rusicks' behalf on Shanann's estate. Bless the Rusick family. No one should ever have to be in their position. What the... And what is this? I think this... and then it says all this money should go to the Rusicks, period. We should definitely do Shanann's law. The law that stands up for victims' families. What they're doing. What is it? Okay, she has this channel, and it's called Live Abuse Free. And it says She doesn't even spell analyzing right. She says ANALYSING, entitlement. The Watts demand Shanann's life insurance money. What? No. Like I say, very early, and you can see it in the discovery. Christopher said, hey, do everything. I give you power of attorney to her father. I give you power of attorney. Do everything that you need to do for the estate. It's all yours. That was while he was still behind bars, like a couple weeks in. Chris, I grew up Catholic as well, so that's why I root it. I mean, it's just so hard because, I was 16 and pregnant, and all I had ever heard growing up Catholic was if you didn't baptize the baby, and if the unspeakable, if your baby passed away before they were baptized, that they were put in limbo. So I wanted my baby to be baptized, but because I was not married, they refused to baptize my baby. And I was 16. Well, I just turned 17 when I had him, so 17. Junior in high school, I wasn't in the mood to get married. My boyfriend, he became my husband. We had 3 kids, and we were together for 13 years, but it just wasn't. We had a baby. We weren't going to get married. It just wasn't there. But for a Catholic church to hold blame like that on my son, that then if anything happened to him, he'd be forever in limbo because of the decisions of his sinful pariah of a mother. It was like, baptize my baby. Don't punish him. It was a very hard lesson. And that's when I really, had to just step away from anything Catholic. And I'm still fundamentally, I believe in some Catholic things, but the abuse and whatnot is just, men ruined religion. And I don't follow organized religion. And consequently so, none of my children saw the inside of a church, until they were they started going to youth group and stuff with their friends and stuff when they were 16. But it really wasn't anything that I could never feel safe with my kids in a church. Exactly, Charlie. They can't profit from his crime. And here's the thing. Okay. This is something that a lot of people get backwards. So, I think it was on the Dr. Phil show where Sandra Rusick, this is Sandra, she had a dream. She had this terrible dream that she woke up and she had a dream that Christopher had unalived Shanann and the girls and went and poured oil on them because he works in oil fields. That just mortified her. She's had visions all of her life. So she said she went and she put insurance policies on all of the girls that day. Interview from her. People have it all mixed up and they say that the Watts had insurance policies on them. They didn't. And they'll base that hate on them. They'll be like, I can't believe the Watts did that and they put insurance policies on the girls. They're so evil. It's like, no. It was the ruse. Now what do you say? But you can't reason with them. And those people are the ones that scare me. Those are the ones who are believing mainstream media right now. They're believing the headlines. And I'm by no means, an anarchist, but I'm really afraid of how vulnerable and naive people are at this point. You know what I mean? So hi Rose, hi Lily, hi Charlie. Let's see here, Rose. And Chris, I agree with the moral values, and you're now an omnist. All religions matter. Exactly. We're all leading to the same path. And I exactly, Rose. The Shiners are on a set script. It's hilarious that they call us bashers when their behavior is that of intimidation and hate. Yeah, they are the ones who are not allowing freedom of speech. They are the ones who probably shut down my channel, um, and probably are the ones that shut down other channels as well. They don't go for the big ones. I don't know why they don't go for the big ones that have, whatever. Um, Rose, your lapsed Catholic Italian heritage grew up in Oz. Oh, are you from Australia? Australia? You live in Ireland now, and the church did some awful stuff. They refused to bury children in the Catholic cemetery who died. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And now, see, you and I, we should check our 23andMe. You and I might be third cousins because I am 1/4 Italian and 50% British, and then that British breaks down to um, Scottish and Irish. And so I did my 23andMe, and I think everybody should. I now know of 1,500 relatives that I have, and I put it together 2 years ago. Um, you know what? When I did my 23andMe, I found out I have an older brother. Now, my mom was 16 when she had me. My dad was 18. The Italian stallion that he was, obviously. And he took me to every baseball game that he could because all he wanted in life was a boy. And I was really sorry I wasn't a boy, but I had to go, and he drugged me around to every single thing that he would a boy because all he wanted was a boy. And then my sister came. So he had 3 girls, and all he wanted was a boy. He wanted a boy so bad. Well, what he didn't know was that he had a boy. He just didn't know about that boy. When I contacted him, my half brother, he said, my girlfriend sent that in. It's stupid. I was adopted. I love my family. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm like, oh, well, sorry. But I was just like, he hung up the phone. But like, hey, I want an older brother. Come play with me. My father passed away. Gosh, what? 15? Oh, 20? 20 years ago? It goes fast. He would have loved to have known that he had a son. So I'm sure it was one of those ones where he got her pregnant. She, went to one of those homes, and because this was 50, and I think he's like a couple years ago older. So my Italian stallion father must have gotten somebody pregnant when he was 16. Didn't know. Crazy stuff, right? So the godmother, yes. Okay, that is just horrible to me that they refuse to bury children in the Catholic cemetery who died before baptism. How is that protecting God's children? The Catholic Church, and like I said, there's so many Catholic things that come from that. Like I said, do not speak of the dead because you finally felt safe to tell that the priest that was bending you over the pew. You finally felt safe to tell the truth because he was buried. But you cannot speak of that. He's not here to defend himself. Well, thank God. Anyway, Lily, I agree. I can't watch the news now. I just really get more frustrated than anything when I'm watching the news. Oh, Chris, you're Italian, German, Irish, French, and Cherokee. Ooh, got some Cherokee in you too. Look at us. We're all bonding together. We're we Italians. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna cook up some good food, and we're gonna figure this case out. Oh, Calabria. That sounds cool. Your dad did that too. Out there. See? Okay, do the 23andMe. And of course, the 23andMe is not going to show you everything. It depends on who's sent in their DNA. But as more and more people send in their DNA, the more things you find. And then you can put it together because then you get a cousin, and then you're like, okay. And then it'll say, what surnames they know of. And you can be like, oh, okay, so you're on that side. Ooh, cool. I'd love to know more about that side. You know what I mean? And then, oh, you just found out you're part German too, Lily. Yeah. So we've got the Germans and the Italians. We've got all nations here, right? Before ultrasounds. I mean, my oldest is 34, and the ultrasounds, we got one ultrasound during the middle of the pregnancy, basically to make sure that the child, had limbs, I guess. I don't know. But it looked like black and white ants fighting on a TV. Like, you could not tell. And you're like, there's that. And I'm like, what? I'm not sure that that's human, but if you say so. Thought I was going to birth a dog. I didn't know. Um, yeah, so I. Well, isn't that the truth? Is that like all men they watch TV while their wives are in labor, right? Yes, W's wedding with those Italians. But okay, get this, Rose. Okay, did you hear the details of? You probably have, of the bridal shower, where they left it up to the Watts to bring the food, probably because Sandra didn't want to pay for anything, right? So she accused the Watts of trying to poison SW because everything was contaminated. Everything was contaminated. So poor SW couldn't eat a thing there that was at her own bridal shower. It was all cross contaminated. I'm going, what the shit? Were they just grabbing turkey breasts and chicken breasts and walking around with them and then putting some peanut butter on the celery? What kind of cross contamination are we talking here? Well, cross contamination, according to Sandra, was that they touched or brought things with gluten in at the same time other things that didn't have gluten were there. And Sandra said, thank goodness she had some food in her car so that her own daughter could eat. Well, what do we see here when we look forward into the crystal ball? What about 8 years down the road? Who goes and pitches a fit like that at the Watts again? You contaminate everything. You tried to kill my Cece. You just tried to kill my child based on your stupidity. And there's razor blades all over. I'm going to call my dad to come and get me. Little spoiled brat. You know? Okay? That's the thing. It's like if you're Italian, you're too busy making sure the guests are okay, not your own stomach. This is the thing, is that I remember, from my Italian side, and my grandmother, after she was widowed, even she bought a restaurant and named it after my grandfather, who had passed before I was born. And um, it was Joe's AMJ, ats on my joint. AMJ, ats on my joint. Like how the Italians talk. And I just remember, sitting there going to the restaurant with Grandma, and sitting there with those red and white tablecloths and those little red candles you'd have in the glass, and the pretzels and breadsticks in the little plastic on the table. But they just fed me. They just threw food at me like all day, and I'd just sit there, all right, give me some more spaghetti, or ravioli, cool. I mean, it was just, you come in and you're like, well, okay, what do you want? And it wasn't a question of, do you want to eat? There was always pasta there. There was always something that, as the second you come in, somebody's warming something up, getting something off the oven, and there's a plate in front of you. So when Sandra tries to put that narrative that, she is just this amazing cook, and she wants to teach everybody out there how to cook for their family, and that's the gift she can give back to the world, of supporters for supporting her and everything. She's going to teach everybody how to cook, just like she taught hers, and then she puts out there on her Shiner Insta and whatnot, she puts up these pictures where it shows Shanann with a wooden spoon or something in a pot. It says that, SW was the best cook, and she cooked amazingly, and she was always in the kitchen. I can't tell you, from all of the extensive pictures that we saw, I never saw anything that she took a picture of that she cooked. Yeah, we know that one where it was that exhaustingly slow and laborious Thanksgiving Day or whatever when she was making the mini cannolis or whatever and gave Bella the morsels. The morsel. You want some chocolate morsels? Chocolate chips? What the fuck? Do I hear you say chips? But anyway, um, I didn't see her whipping up things. Now, Christopher did say that she makes amazing, what do you say, fried pizza? But the girls were just getting chicken nuggets. Christopher said, he missed the girls throwing chicken nuggets at him. Yeah, chicken recipe, yes. It's like I did not see anything come out of their kitchens as anything even Italian would know to save lives, right? Um, exactly. It's very basic and right, like nobody likes fruitcake, but people fight over your grandma's fruitcake. You know what? It is because there is a way to make good fruitcake, and I don't know if it's that you don't get the candied fruit. It's actually like I don't know, but they can. I know what you're talking about, and it's good. It's good fruitcake. Yeah, they weren't even proper cannolis. No, no, and how could you be gluten free and Italian? I mean, you all know I've talked about my stomach issues and how I'm a non compliant patient with my Crohn's. It is, I should be gluten free, but I don't. I just, whatever. Because I can't be. I need my freaking pasta. When I get really sick, yeah, I'll be good and just have broth for a while and yogurt. But I can't do that, and I would not inflict that on my kids. You know what I mean? If my kids, I would try and find really fun things for them to eat if they had a restricted diet. You know what I mean? Ooh, like $30 to make that good fruitcake. See, that's what it was because it was like something that you brought to the holidays. It was not something that people had all the time. So I think that when fruitcake became something that they made in mass production and they put all of the preservatives and everything in it so you could buy it in the store and bring it, and it's just gag worthy, all that. Ugh. But yeah, when it was something that was very special and had, the ingredients, gosh, right now to make scrambled eggs is $30. I can't imagine. Freaking eggs are so expensive right now. I don't think we're gonna be able to have Easter this year. With the Easter egg, they're all gonna have to be plastic. You can't be doing any colored Easter eggs, so you can't waste any. Right. Prime roast for the Thrive guests, but no mortgage paid. Here is the thing. Okay. If she was making so much money and she was indeed a senior vice president, whatever, and she was indeed making as much or more than Christopher, why not make the mortgage? Why wasn't the mortgage being paid? Okay, Chris, I said this in the recording that is up now because my HOA does not, and I pay my HOA fees. It won't allow me to have a chicken because I checked. Because at this point, I'd like to have some chickens out there for my cats to look at. um, had not been paid for a year. What other things that we don't know of were not being paid? I'm sure the insurance for the car wasn't being made. Probably the insurance in general wasn't being paid. I'm surprised the lights were still on. When I was looking up, it said that the senior vice president, whatever she was, whatever, could she live inside? Not with my 3 cats. I think that they may try to do terrible things to the chicken. You're a chicken. You're gonna live inside. You're gonna make me eggs. You're gonna make me eggs. Um, yeah, the foxes. Yeah, I'm rural too, and the foxes out here, when they take over a yard, they're hilarious. They'll just take over somebody's backyard, and you'll be like driving by, and they'll look at you like, "What's up?" You're like, "You're a fox. What are you doing out there?" Um, I mean, I don't know. It says that they qualify for 2 MLM vacations per year. She was going basically one a week at the end. I'm not even kidding you. She was not qualifying to go to all of those, but she was attending them. I'm sure you can go to as many of them as you like as long as you pay for it, but they comp too, right? It does not say that they're comping airfare and hotel, rental car, food when you're gone, childcare back home, income loss back home from your spouse if you bring them or whatnot, entertainment. There's no way. I have never known anybody in an MLM that has went on that many getaways. She was using his salary to go on the getaways. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Because there's no way, if she was making enough money to afford all of those vacations, to qualify for those vacations, why not make the house payment? Why were they in financial peril? It doesn't make sense. I narrated that bankruptcy because I saw in another thing, actually in the Discovery, where Sandra called and said that, hey, they were only in debt because of the medical bills. Baloney. That is not true. That's a flex. Just like, why do you lock your girls up for 15 out of 24 hours a day? Oh, Baby Wise says to do it. My girls are trained. Sorry, your kids aren't trained. Why are you going on so many vacations? Because I won them. They're free. I can't not go. Duh. I'm a big MLM woman. And then the people say, they say, because of the MLMs, they did this to her. If it wasn't for the MLMs ruined her. Are you crazy? That was her 7th MLM. It just wasn't that there were all of these vacations available to go on LuLaRoe or Monet or the mascara that she was selling, the Amway. Most of them just have, their 1 to 2 year things. But she found this particular one that had all of these different ones in different cities. That way they could have the local people be able to go to them easier. And then, you have her ones at Punta Cana or whatever. So she horned her way into all of them. And what do you know? The other Chris, who was in the pictures with her, was able to go along as well. And several of them, all the girls went too. So yeah, if they could afford it. Exactly. She had exactly the the, the okay, so Lily, the prop house. Okay, so the house was made to look exactly like the one that she had in North Carolina, per se, because she was making her house look exactly like her bosses in North Carolina, so Hisham had this beautiful house. She was jealous fuck, so she went and got herself the house no matter what she had to do to get the house that she got, no matter how she supplemented her income. As an adult, she didn't have kids. I don't care what she was doing then, right? So then when she got out to Colorado, they lived with the Dietzes for, I think, 1 or 2 years, saved up their money, and they got this house. So this house is in a development. It's not like it was, it's not like they got a builder and said, this is how I want this custom home. They had a certain type of home that they could pick, and she picked that big gargantuan one. So there are several of those. The reason it looks like a prop home is because she never let any of the toys or anything, she never let anybody live in that house. She locked the girls up 15 hours out of 24 hours a day. Even the playroom was not allowed to be played in. Exactly, Chris. The cat probably leave a crazy chicken alone. Turkeys are terrifying. And I understand, Lily, that there are a lot of alternate theories. And everybody's welcome to have their alternate theories. That's just fine. Hi, Brooks. Brooks, how are you? Hello, Brooks. You. Brooks and I met on a creator's. Oh, but the creator doesn't remember that I'm alive or exist, right? That I'm in exile from that creator. You know, think with the intelligence of a Mensa, but anyway. So Brooks was in there and Brooks was asking a couple questions and I was like, "Hey Brooks, check out this, check out this." And Brooks is a freaking boss now. Brooks went down the rabbit hole and came up a few times and went back down. Um so yeah, Rose, that house is a show home, a badly decorated one. Here's the thing. So yeah, Lily, it looked like a model home. Absolutely. It and the cop said this is in excellent condition. You know, now it absolutely looked like a model home. When they came in, the friends that came in, they saw toys on the floor, like maybe what, two or four, and they said that they knew that there was something wrong because there was toys on the floor. If you are a mother of a barely 3-year-old and 4-year-old, if there aren't toys tripping you when you walk in and then you freaking do the best you can and hope to God you don't step on a Lego the rest of the way into their house, something's wrong. But in her place, no, it had to be immaculate. Nobody could live in that house. You saw when Christopher was sitting on the floor playing with the girls, he had to sit on like the tile in the front. I don't even think that she allowed them to sit down on the carpet. Absolutely, Rose, she didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. That was not her thing. I think when she said she couldn't have kids, she meant she couldn't have kids, as in didn't want them. And exactly, Charlie. She did not make enough money to pay for all the Thrive in the basement. The money, okay. Let's see. When I told you, I don't know if you guys have heard when I've talked about my MLM. If I didn't sell $300 of product in the 6 months, I would be deactivated. Okay? So that was just me, not my downline for right now for purposes of discussion. So let's say I didn't. Let's say that I sold 100. So either I come up with 200 or I'm deactivated and everything I put into this is done. So then I would buy $200 worth of product and say, okay, I'll pimp this product at farmer's market, or I couldn't go to farmer's market, I found, but at an event that then I pay for, blah, 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 blah. That's what she was doing. So she was buying her position each time. She had to sell what she had to sell to get people to buy what she had, but she was supplementing. So just for the purposes of discussion, that's very easy. Now, if I had a downline, which I didn't because I suck at MLMs, then everybody in my downline to keep my position would have had to have hit that 300. If they didn't, I was out as well. So people cheat and then will supplement everybody on the downline to keep their position. Okay? If that makes sense just on that 300 level, it's against the rules to supplement and buy. It's against the rules to buy your own, and unless you can prove that you have a vessel to sell it. So what she was doing was not right. Now, she signed up her husband under her as her downline. She signed up her parents under her as her downline. I think they even got poor Junior into it. And then the Watts as well. So her immediate downline was all of her family. So the Watts and everything were having to pay to keep her happy in that. And then if Christopher didn't sell his amount. Now the problem is that their minimums were $12,000. We're not talking the 300. And exactly, Rose, the house will need a wheelbarrow of sage to cleanse it. Someone call a priest or a shaman. As you all know, if you've listened to my other one, I am an ordained minister. I have the power to marry, bury, bless, exercise homes. I absolutely agree that that house would have been cleansed. I would love it if they would call me out there, and I would be happy to cleanse the house. I've got some responsibly sourced sage, white sage that I got from the reservation. I make sure that my sage is absolutely pure and not manufactured. Um, Oh yeah, she was ready to sell at any moment. She plastic in her dining room table. Exactly when she was in that neck brace trying to bite through the packages to make samples. And exactly, Rose, my cats, their toy boxes out there, and they, we vacuum, we put it up, and then they just love to knock it out. So then they make a big mess with their toys. Exactly, my animals have more toys out than they could. And and Charlie, her children were props. Absolutely. She had them out there to pimp them to make it look like she was this wonderful mother. Absolutely. Lily, she did. She called the girls monsters. So they're messing up her house. And that is a very strange and cruel, in your opinion. My opinion as well. It was disgusting when they were trying to, I think that her mom was trying to do that video. I think she said, Mom, film me doing my makeup. Because I think that's why she was selling that mascara stuff or whatever. Allegedly oh gosh, was it Simple? I don't know. It was one of those MLMs, right? So she was like, Mom, film me doing my makeup. And Sandra was like, girls, come in. So the girls are like sitting there, and they want to play because they're emulating mommy, just like pulling down Cece with her earlobes. They do what mommy does. So they're in there and they're playing just like all little girls. All little girls like to play with their mom's, makeup and stuff. She was like, they're monsters. What? I don't want to deal with them. Oh yeah, Cece wants her milk. So Cece always wants her milk. Oh gosh. What? Are you thieves? Why are you stealing? Why are you stealing? They're just monsters. Who talks like that about their children? Who doesn't say, you like that one? Okay, well, Mama can get you this one. How about if you do this? Here, you want to play with that one? Here, you have this one. And you just let them do that. That's what a real mom does. If you call people, children, they're this born with this blank slate, and what you call them is what they become. You call them monsters and thieves, they'll become monsters and thieves. And what did she say about Cece's behavior? Mm-hmm. And why did Cece come up with amphetamine in her liver? Wasn't in Bella, so it was not a byproduct of whatever soaked in from the oil. Was she giving Cece Thrive? Was she doing that so she could say that, she was so horrible, blah, blah, blah. She could, because of Thrive, she can take care of a child like Cece. She's so hyper. If you were really an infertile woman, hi, Miss CD, how are you? If you were really an infertile woman, hi, Kit Kat, that. If you were really an infertile woman and you finally got pregnant, not once, but twice, 2 living little girls, wouldn't you cherish every breath they took? And then a third? And oh yeah, she cares so much that she says she's spotting and then gets on a plane and says she's all this and doesn't go to the doctor because she's out of network. She worked picking up or taking phone calls for a children's hospital. She knew damn well about emergencies being out of town and out of network and everything. No one even thinks about that if you're in peril of losing your baby or you're spotting. You just go to the hospital. You try to save the baby, and whatever you have to give up in your life, even if it's your house, your livelihood, your whatever collection you have, you don't care because you want to save the baby. But not her. It wasn't. The table might have been repo. There was a lot of furniture that was taken back. They probably had a bunch of leased furniture because that one bankruptcy. If you look at the bankruptcy, you can see a lot of the furniture was claimed in the bankruptcy. Party light candles, though, you had Chris. I think that the party light candles, especially in the beginning, they had these beautiful ones, the little Christmas ones and stuff. They really had some pretty stuff in the beginning. You can find a lot of it at Goodwill now. And let's see. Hi, Brooks. Something very sinister was going on in that family. It has nothing to do with their ultimate demise. I wouldn't rule out. There's a lot of theories. There are a lot of theories. And Brooks, you've researched a lot and you've came up with theories that are not the same as mine, and we're still friends. We're still absolute friends. I don't mind anybody having any theory as long as they're looking into it and they're not bashing me for bashing a dead woman. Well, thank you, Kit Kat. You've watched every episode since you've been on. What? You've watched every episode? Well, then now you are a subject matter expert as well in all things Watts because you put in, I put in 100 videos so far. So, and the some are 2 and 3. I mean, honestly, you guys are all going to the University of Tabitha Jane. Should we go on some MLM vacations? Should we go crash them? And thank you, Kit Kat, for listening to everything. I really appreciate it. And then, well, well, Rose, yeah, let's do it. Let's get married. Oh, you're allergic to it after two tries, but you never know. Like I say, I was married for 9 years with my first husband, together for 13, and then this husband of mine, well, we've been together 22 years, married for 21. Is that right? Or 21 and 20, whatever it was. Let's see here. Oh, one. Well, no. So 21 years of marriage and together 22 in April. I I just can't get rid of that one. But hey, I'll put you on a list. And if you want to start taking some Claritin or whatever, so that you can try and get that allergy to marriage taken care of. Let's get married and let's get go and solve mysteries together. And then Brooks, nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. And the where it went, the keep imagining SW's face when Cindy asked where it went. Which one were we talking about? I missed it. And then, oh, absolutely, Miss Edie, lupus was a complete lie. And exactly, Charlie, when you went to traveling, your HMO always reimbursed. Absolutely. And she said Chris had good insurance. And I know, Lily, you love those candles. You still have a candle holder that you won. You won $100 worth of product, and your aunt bought me a bunch of stuff too. I know some of it's so beautiful. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I think it's a Christmas one. Then they did I thought they had a fairy one too. Um, I think she looked dope sick. I absolutely think she looked dope sick. And you hate the word amazing. Amazing, amazing. Oh, it's not amazing. Amazing. Sorry, Chris. I just couldn't help it. You know. And super excited. Oh yeah, isn't that amazing? I'm super excited. Hi guys, I'm super excited. Becky, how are you? Yeah, you were with me during my first live, huh? How are you? Thank you. Speaking of the husband in 22 years, feeding me. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you. Oh, my Kiss is checking out the food. Oh yes, he's a very nice man. He feeds me. Um. So let's see here. So Charlie, the thing about the opioids, he wanted that purse because she wanted to get that bottle of oxycodone out of there. So NA was very aware of the fact that she was taking oxycodone, and she had not seen her primary care doctor in 2 or 3 years and had not seen her OB yet to date with that pregnancy that we have definitive proof of. I can now go back a little bit and say maybe she did establish an appointment, because how did she have the second appointment that was supposed to be where the day that she did not show up was supposed to be the ultrasound that determined gender from her doctor. No, her eyes, she looked zoinked. She absolutely looked zoinked. And with all of the, I'm nauseous, I'm not, yeah, because you're taking opioids and you're pregnant. That's going to be a double whammy. I had to take Zofran with it because I was prescribed to have to take those opioids because of the obstructed kidney stone. The, the pain was causing my body to go into premature labor. So I had to take pain meds, even though I adamantly refused to while pregnant. If I didn't, then we couldn't stop the premature labor. My body was like, okay. The pain is too much stress, so we had to do this and that. Right, Charlie? She couldn't put that on credit, but you know what? There's ways to trade. Ooh, trade all kinds of things. There's all kinds of currency in the world, don't you know? Um, well, she couldn't. I would love to see if some of those credit cards, somebody with some skills should do a credit check on Bella and CC, see how many credit cards were taken out in their name. Absolutely, Miss Edie, and that's the thing. Her pregnancy would have been a very high risk one. So for her being supposedly 15 weeks and not seeing a doctor yet would be unheard of having lupus. You would not be able to get on the plane on an airplane every other day because even when she was in North Carolina, she went on 2 different MLM things from there. I mean, being on a plane and pregnant is just really tough on the body. Um, I had high risk pregnancies, and that was an absolute freaking no. And spotting, you go to the ER, and they do, just, Chris, now I'm spotting. You can't leave me without a car because I'm spotting. In the end, she didn't want him to go visit his grandma because she needed to have um, a car with her because she was spotting. Oh, yeah, right. Um, Charlie, if she had complications, she'd get opioids, but it would be carefully managed, and it would be for a condition and not lupus. Uh-uh. And she would be in. She would need to be seeing very, not a, like you said, not a nurse practitioner, a very high risk OB. Absolutely. Becky Boo, that $30 cash is really interesting. And NA was a CNA and a Supercuts. Who knows what else she was doing? Hi, beauty fashion goals. I'm so sorry you have kidney stage disease. Uh-huh. I have passed. I have passed on my very own 72 kidney stones, and I've had 14 lithotripsy and cytoscopies, 4 failed stents because I pull those fuckers out, and a nephrostomy. And then I have interstitial cystitis from the sepsis, so my bladder hemorrhages. And Becky, how is your daughter doing? Oh yeah, beauty fashion goals. She did fake Thrive accounts by she signed up her family. And see, here's the thing: is I went and I'm trying to figure out how many she had in her downline, and all you can see is what friends said. Because you have these big things that'll come up, it'll be like she was this and she did that and she did this according to her friend. Okay, where is the printout? If she really had accomplished all of this and had this, it should like be able to be rattled off somebody and be like, you know what, she did this and she had a downline of this, and there you go. Wonderful. How many vacations does that qualify you to go that are paid by Thrive? If she earned the Lexus, why was the Lexus in Christopher Watts' name? I don't believe the spotting. I don't believe she was spotting at all. Oh my God, Miss CD. Pumpkin seed oil is the best. Yes, I take the Azo pumpkin seed oil. Um, I'm allergic to aloe vera for some reason, but the pumpkin seed oil in the Azo works so freaking good for me. I had taken Elmeron and other one, from the um, urogynecologist and or urologist and nephrologist. I don't know which one put me on the Elmeron ultimately, but I only took the Elmeron for 2 weeks. I'm glad, so I didn't have hairy eyeballs, right? Because is growing all this stuff on the eyeballs. But the pumpkin seed oil in the azo is so amazing. I think it's a highly absorbable form of magnesium that can just get in there. I'd heard about all the other stuff, and nothing really got my attention until I took the azo, and I was like, whoa, I feel relief like day one. What the, oh my gosh. Becky Boo, I 1,000% agree with you. um I won't drink tap water. I drink Gatorade. That's ever since I had sepsis. I really can't stand the taste of water as it is. If you go down some rabbit holes, if you were given Levaquin, Cipro, etc. for the infections with the kidneys, you could be floxed, Floxed. And so then you respond horribly to the fluoride that's in the water, and it can make you more sick. If you look up on Facebook, if you're a Floxie, Floxie, long story, but you go in there and it does talk about like the water, and it doesn't necessarily make the connection with the kidney stones, but I totally believe it, because like we paid for the not the big reverse, but not the whole osmosis, but as good as you could. We paid for a system to make our water that comes out of our faucets the same as bottled water. And anytime there's a spot of it on my counter, it turns orange. So I'm like, this is going to make stones. I only drink a little tiny bit of water, like when I mix it in with a packet of something. I generally, drink Gatorade and whatnot. But I agree that we have to be really careful with our water. Yes, I've had DMSO in what do you call it, installations. Yes. And they were doing the installations for a long time. That's where they put it in your bladder. Um for the DMSO, and it really did help me for a while, but now they're reluctant to do them. I don't know. As soon as you find something that works, then they stop. Oh gosh, Miss Edie, please research the uh, implant. The implant scares the shit out of me. Um, Check out Bad Good and everything, just because. But yeah, if you get, so it's Azo, and it says for overactive bladder, and it says overactive bladder and weight management. So I'm like, oh good, I won't be a lard ass if I take this pill too. It hasn't worked so far, but anyway. Um, so it's Azo. You can find it on Amazon. It's not cheap. But it's Azo pumpkin seed oil. Look for the one that says, because there's the regular Azo that turns your pee the color of pumpkin. Color of my avatar right there, pumpkin. But the one that has the pumpkin seed oil in it just does, let's see, it doesn't make your urine any color, but it just makes it feel better. And it says like take 3 pills a day. And within the first day, I had such relief that with the 3 pills that I backed it down to 2, and then 1, and then I did 1 for a few days. Now I only take it as needed, and honestly, it helps so much. So yeah, it's a little bit expensive to first pay for it. It's like $1 a pill. I think when a 30-day supply can be up to like, I don't know, 25, 30, whatever. But one thing will last me a few months. Okay, beauty fashion, there you go. The Cipro and Levaquin. Yep. Are you in the Levaquin lawsuit? I've been in a Levaquin class action for, I think, 11 years. I think it'll settle out and I'll probably get like $1.25 to my name. But yeah, go on and find those about the Floxy website, and if you've been floxed. The Levaquin went through, and it gets into your small fiber nerves and destroys them. So if you have peripheral neuropathy, etc., you don't feel your toes, all that kind of stuff, check it out. Check it out. Yeah, I've had sepsis twice. I had it with my 4th pregnancy, and then when I was 36 in law school. had a major heart attack, 36, 6 kids, and having a major freaking heart attack because my heart had the infection. And acute kidney failure, etc., etc. Oh, Miss C, I hope that that'll help with my hair because my hair is so bad from COVID. Beauty fashion goals. Do you like, what is it called? Okay, it's this brand of coconut water called Bai, Bai. It's so good. It's got coconut water, and then the other, it can be like coconut and pineapple, and then there's like the mint coconut. So good. Yeah. And some people really react to the Cipro and Levaquin like they've only taken it once and then they have the terrible side effects. And they really don't tie it to it because before there really wasn't. Yeah, now it has a black box warning for it, but back when in 2000 when they'd give you not only Cipro prescription but a freaking foil pack sample of it, and then anytime you get a UTI, inkling, you just pop some Cipro and bam. Check it out. Real cold with crushed ice. Yeah. Yeah. That's what causes the floxing. Yep, because it's Cipro, Levaquin, anything that has, because it's ciprofloxacin. The Levaquin is I don't know. I can't think. Um, Brain damage from COVID, Brian. Am from Washington State. Oh, the antibiotics, they're in the floxing. They're floxing, whatever. Um so yeah, check it oh, gosh, what, oh, the kind that they are, well, and if you look into the history, it's pretty bad because it kills the antibiotic, it kills the germs, it kills the infection by breaking down the cellular nature of the infection. By doing so, it breaks down your cells in the way that your cell and DNA works. And that's why cows that are given Cipro for mastitis and such in mass, that can also hurt us who are floxed. I know, Miss CD. I had to stop coffee and tea and all that good stuff until the freaking azo with the pumpkin seed oil really helped me, and now I can drink coffee just fine, and my tea, you guys hear me, my tea. And yeah, it has to be a last resort on those. I agree. But it was getting so, yeah, quinolines. Yes, fluoroquinolines. There you go, Miss CD. Exactly. It's quinolines. Um, they arguably saved my life, but they damaged 80% of my small fiber nerves. So I have a life, but I fall a lot. So, I mean, but yeah. Oh, hi, Miss CD. Okay, so you're a nurse. You got it. You got it. So, the other one I was given was, oh, it was so bad. I can't even think of it. They pulled that one fast, but I had to be on that one as well. I had Vanco resistant MRSA and VRE. And that was not seen in the US. I was down in Vegas for law school, and that was in 2008. Yeah, the Cipro, the muscle tearing, absolutely, and that's what happened. They also believe that was part of my heart attack because I was yep, the tendons rupture. Yeah, because your heart happens to be one side, this massive cardiac incident along with the thing. Yeah, Vanco. I was on a Vanco pick line and given Livaquin, and it was just horrible. And it can happen quite a bit later too. But check out those floxing websites, not websites, but the Facebook groups. And with all Facebook groups, you can take the good and the bad. I mean, because then you see the people who are just going in there and they're like, "Hey, um, nothing to do with this, but I'm homeless now. Can anybody like lend me a place to stay or money?" And so it's just like you just have to watch it. And I go in there and I take what I need, and then I see there's just the people in there that are just absolute wackos. But you know what? Yes, your boyfriend is ICU nurse. Oh, she best friend is an ICU nurse. So you have a nurse practitioner soon. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I that's my biggest regret in life is not finishing nursing school. But um, I'm deathly allergic to latex, and in 1996, everything was latex. I was going to um, work and ending up in anaphylactic shock. Um, you're an ICU nurse too. Oh yeah, yeah. One of my kiddos is almost finished with nursing school and going through the last 2 months of clinicals. So in the cardiac care unit right now. I'm glad that she's doing better, Becky. I sure worry about her. Yeah, I'm just a wealth of information. Okay, we were talking about that, and nursing school is like boot camp. Now, in 1996, when I was in there, they straight up said, if you're married, file for divorce. You have kids, kiss them goodbye. This is a nursing program. This is your priority. And I was like, what? And soon, I mean, it was just so hard for me to try to work, raise my kids, do that, and then have an anaphylaxis and everything. And I was so sick. And when I dropped out, it was so hard. And I regret it. But now seeing my child, who doesn't have to worry about rent or anything, struggle with how difficult nursing school is. It's like, wow. And back when, in the 90s, it was fine for the older nurses to eat the young ones. And older nurses eat their young. They're proud to do it. They're horrible to the younger nurses. And now they have like rights and complaint processes. And I mean, they're starting to turn back the dial on nursing and make it more. They just need to have it so that, okay, if you need to, take 4 years to get your RN, here's a way that you can do it so that you can still be a mom and whatever. Yeah, yeah. So you, Becky, you went through with kids as well. Wow, Miss CD. And I worked as a tech in the oncology unit. So I was um, I was in nursing school, but then as a tech, where I worked, I was able to do everything except for pass med. So I could start catheters. I was a phlebotomist. I was able to do everything except for pass meds, and then be on the other side of the suppository. Hopefully, once I'd graduated from my RN program. But yeah, bullying is a real problem in nursing, and the thing is that they're hardly getting anybody to graduate these programs anymore. They'll start with what 30. I think my child started with 30 in the class. Now there's down to like 6 in the class, if that. Oh, awesome! Being a CNA in a level 1 trauma center, that'd be awesome. I'm so sorry, beauty fashion goals. And you listen to the entire discovery, and you're back to my first post 6 months ago. I've got this little thing in the middle. And catch it. Thank you so much. And then I just uploaded another one. I was just kind of a tough night. I had gotten a real ass chewing from somebody on Reddit, and then a comment popped up in another video, and I just happened to catch this other just horrible, horrible, all in caps, manifesto towards me. And there have been some others I don't let you guys see, that were just really tough on me. And so I just kind of, you know, shared them with you guys. And then I went back to the doll picture and the manifesto that Shanann had put up that other people had not heard. The doll picture is absolutely confusing. I think that our friend Dave, because I got a lot of people saying, no, I reversed it on the doll picture. It was Shanann who did it. And I understood it. And that's why I took just quick pictures so I could try. And I clarified it on the video that was just up. Thank you so much for listening, Diane. I really appreciate it. You're a subject matter expert as well now, because you've listened to how much now? And so the discovery will show, and I think it's, what is it, in our discovery number 1. So I put up the pictures, and so it's reviewed on the video I just did. So if you need to skip ahead, if you haven't listened to the whole discovery, just listen to the one that I just uploaded this afternoon. It's Deep Thoughts with Tabitha Peterson, Saturday Night Live style, right? Because I didn't go through all of the nitty gritty in how they downloaded and proved which phone was which, by which IP, and how they coded it. But he said he put each one and then put the brackets around it. So when you get to the doll picture page, and I think it's discovery page 2107, page 1903. I re-put him in there, but I think it's 1907. That's discovery page 2098 and page 1903. So on the top of the doll picture, it says Watts took this picture and then sent it to Shanann. And it shows in brackets that it came from Watts's phone. So when Watts was alone with the kids, and she was in Arizona that fateful weekend. Now, the girls had been alone with her in North Carolina for 6 weeks, and then they're doing this crap to the doll when they get home. It wasn't just that this blanket was just left on the thing. It was a weird white blanket, and it was like wrapped around the head of the doll. It's weird. But anyway, you look at this and the way that it says, and it said that, so the picture of the doll is in the middle of this page, and on top of it, it says, Watts took this picture at blah, 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 sent it to Shanann Watts. 2 hours later, Shanann Watts responded, said something like, whoa, I don't know what to think. Okay. So then you see that he sent it to her. She responded. Now, we know that then she put it on her Facebook because she thought that must have been so funny. So she put it on her Facebook. That's where people get it that she took it. But it was from Watts to her to there. Now, below the picture, it says Shanann sent a picture to Sarah Nudd. And then it says of the letter. So people can also infer that Shanann sent that picture above, but it says of the letter. And the letter below is that one, and it's got the little hearts. And it's like, Dear Christopher. You know, so it was for all to see, her little artwork with a sweet little letter. Because when she was telling all of her friends, like, oh, I don't know what to say to Christopher. He hasn't done this, and he hasn't done that, and didn't grab my ass. And meanwhile, he's on another couch. They're in the same room, and she's writing this freaking manifesto about, how she didn't do this, and he can just stay here if he's that stupid. That's the solution and all this stuff, right? So he sent it. He sent the picture. So whoever did that to the doll, you have to wonder if we can show the connection that Bella pulled Cece down by her earlobe to sit down, just shown to us by Neek's Peaks, we can show that Bella demonstrated behavior that she saw from her mother doing it. Was Shanann doing that to Cece, covering her head with a blanket when she wasn't doing something right, when she wasn't doing, because we know that she often laughed about how she'd come in and Cece would have all these blankets on her head. But yet she's in a SIDS group. SIDS group women would be talking about all of the ways to prevent, and they would be, even in 2018, they would have been very adamant about not having any loose things, blankets or anything in there. So if Tamburglar wanted to sit there and spend all of this time, going and spending all of her investigative time and talent into going to make sure that Christopher Watts took CPR safety training as a course one day at work, why didn't we delve into why SW thought it was funny that she kept seeing Cece with blankets over her head whilst she's in a SIDS group? Crazy. Oh, I think so too. Becky, I think that Shanann had never ever lost control of Chris and was hit like a ton of bricks and cheated on her. Oh, I think that she had double narcissistic injury. I think she went out to North Carolina because she knew, okay, when she went from North Carolina to Colorado, she was leaving it like just like imagine like this big old explosion, right? Because if she would have stayed in North Carolina, she was facing the charges of the large amount of money missing, the embezzlement, allegedly. Now, people think that they're smart and they're like, oh, yeah, we found the lawsuit about it. And it's something to do with the credit pull and how they weren't given credit. That is not what we're talking about. We are talking about the large amount of money that was missing from the workplace, and she was implicated as the person who did it. Why wasn't she working there anymore? What happened? Why did she quit with Hisham? Why? Because she was accused or because she was fired because of it? And then whether or not he was going to file. I think that Frankie, because Frankie worked there with her, the dad, I think that Frankie said, don't, she'll just leave. Just let her leave. She's got that lupus and everything. Well, Super Agent Sunshine Joy, welcome. You've been in and out with pneumonia? Yep. I agree. I had that all in the fall. You all know that. I send you prayers. I wish you tons and tons of Mucinex. Get the Mucinex on board and do not stop the Mucinex and Tylenol. The Mucinex is going to thin that snot. All COVID does is make snot, and then it goes and gets into your sinuses and your lungs and everywhere else. Kitty Witty. We don't know. We don't know how she could ignore it because she was CBI even. She wasn't even FBI. She was CBI. For a woman to be in the CBI position, you'd think, wow, she's got to have hot shit investigative skills. So what did she do with them? She showed how she could give a massage and massage a confession out of somebody. Wow. How about if a man did that to a woman? It's just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. You look at it, I think, so she left North Carolina to Colorado, finds Chris can get her out of there. She can go and babysit for the nurse practitioner that she'd been babysitting for, whatever. Goes out there, babysits for the deets, lays low, changes the way that her first name is spelled, gets a new last name, thinks that she can't be found, that, she's outsmarted everybody. So if they were coming after her for embezzlement, they'd have to extradite her out of the state and everything else like that. And they couldn't find her with the new name, right? So they save up money, they build this new house, whatever. She thinks she's in the free. That's how she got out of the last mess she was in. My theory is that pregnancy number 3 was not Christopher Watts's. Yes, Chris was the father, but not Christopher Watts, and Chris lived in North Carolina. Chris is the one that she's pictured with in that leopard dress. How would a husband feel seeing these pictures of her out with this man? What if the pictures of Shanann Watts and the other Chris were on the headlines next to NK and Chris? What if each of them were shown with different partners? Why couldn't the whole story be that she was having the affairs? He finally started to have an affair. Their marriage was over. They were seeking other lovers, and something horrible happened that night. That's the truth. I think that she went, had the girls, got the airplane, because Christopher got the $10,000 out to catch up the house. Okay? I think that $10,000 went from the airline tickets going. She flew Daddy out to babysit for the couple of days before they went to North Carolina, right? Because her and Chris went out of town. So she paid for Daddy to go from North Carolina to Denver airport. And then Daddy flew with Shanann and the 2 girls. So that's another airfare. So that's airfare for 4 to North Carolina. While she was in North Carolina, she flew to two more locations. And then whatever spending things she needed while she was in North Carolina, whatever. She flew to 2 more destinations. Chris out there. And then flew them all back home. That's about $10,000 right there for the 6 weeks. How was that funded? That was funded from that $10,000. I'm sure she said that she was going to put it on the house payments to catch it all up and everything was fine, but we know what she did. That was for the airplane tickets because she never intended to return home. She thought she was leaving this mess behind just like she did the other way. So she's just basically making a U-turn. She went to North Carolina with no intention of coming back to Colorado. She went, told the other man that, hey, them together. You know that leopard dress that you couldn't resist, nice they never failed. Well, guess what? This little bun in the oven, it's yours. We did it again. There you go. And he said, no, I'm married. I've got 2 kids. I can't. And she's like, well, Cece's probably yours too. I've 2 of yours. I can be your wife. And he was like, I said no. I said no. So then she's got that rejection. So then she's like going back to the other Chris and going, okay, you have to forgive me now. Let's work on this. I'm going to schedule time to talk. Chris, why don't you come out here for a week? Let's talk. But she didn't give a crap about him when she was going out there. Everything was fine. She was having NA get the mail so that he would never see what was really going on with the house. Miss CD, that's where I was just talking about the $10,000 is what I think, how it went. Yes, Charlie, they were getting ready to foreclose on the case, on the house. Beauty fashion goals, this is my thing. Brooks gives a polygraph and a lackluster interrogation, and she's miraculously a genius, running seminars. Yeah, she gets to go all around the country as an expert on domestic violence. Are you kidding me? What does she know about domestic violence? I'm sorry, but that is not great what she did. And for people to see her as this expert in domestic violence is just bizarre. So that's where I think the 10,000 went. I don't know how much her mother knew, but when her mother called in, oh, well, they've got the ongoing family issue that they need to be in court for next week, so you got to find the girls, whatever. In the discovery, you'll see I have the whole thing, and it's just the HOA, this ongoing family issue. What, did Sandra work for a governor before and learned how to call, different things? I mean, did she call it turd in the cat box almond roca? I mean, how could she cover up? And then there was so much inferred about the ongoing family issue. It was that she wasn't paying the HOA for over a year. If she was that successful with the MLM, making as much or more as Christopher Watts with him, and he said she had a downline of 200, there's no way. Hi, Special K. I would not be able to sleep if my house payment was late. And I still get scared, even even now. I'll go up to my husband, I'll be like, you're telling me everything, right? Like, we're making the house payment, right? Just because of this. And yeah, they didn't use it for them. And that's the thing, is that in 2018, depending on which mortgage company you had, in which, when you were significantly behind, they could put in a provision and be like, okay, can you catch it up 3 months? Can you catch it up 2 months? And then we'll put this on the end of the loan. We'll give you a balloon payment in this and do this. They were really trying to work with people. It wasn't like the big problems where everybody was thrown out in 2008. So I completely believe that he found out at some point, and she said, oh gosh, it was this and that, and I'm got to get it caught up. We can take from your retirement and do it. This is coming through. My commission was not on time, but it's there. Whatever she had to tell him, but he certainly didn't know. And if he thought that she was making as much money as him, why didn't he question her? This is why she never was alone with him. Why she always had somebody with her, always, because she never wanted to be alone, so they could be alone and quiet and he could think and ask her a question. She always wanted to have somebody there. And yes, Special K, hope TJ didn't find the secret calculator app on hubby's phone. I know. I just loaded a musings, deep thoughts with Tabitha Jane this afternoon. You'll hear, because I did it, and I waited till we were driving so I could kind of look over at him in the side eye, and have both of my eyes on him. I'm like, do you have a calculator app on your phone? He's like, I don't know. Why? I'm like, do you do anything with the calculator app on your phone? He's like, I don't know that my phone has a calculator. I'm like, what do you do? What do you do with the calculator app? He's like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I'm like, do you have an app where you download nudes of other people? He said, what are you talking about? Well, and I explained it, and he's like, I've never heard of that. And I'm like, yeah, right. You better not have. You better not have. I like him, so I want him to live, so I hope he doesn't have it on his phone. Or I gave him the warning, if he did, he's got to get rid of it. Yes, he had to stop the dealership, basically because she diagnosed him with carpal tunnel. I think that she got a payment from workman's comp for carpal tunnel, so then she wanted him to get another windfall and taught him how to do that. Yeah, she wanted to be home for weekends so that he could babysit and she wasn't alone with the kids. Because they were both working at that dealership. And she was top sales and he was the mechanic. Everything was wonderful. On payday, they'd walk straight to Shanann and give her his paycheck, because everybody knew she wore the pants in that family. Everybody knew that Chris didn't even get to look at how much he made. She controlled those finances. Well, why didn't they ever go anywhere? Like, Colorado has to have beautiful places to go on road trips and places. Like, why didn't they go places? Why didn't they go to parks and whatnot? Nurse Nay Nay. Nay Nay. Yeah, and one of the things I got jumped on, so I didn't know what I was talking about, because SW had reddish brown hair. Because in my my Queen of the Dirty South. Somebody recommended it on Reddit. So somebody sent me a screenshot that knows me and is like, oh my gosh, check this out. Tabitha Jane, they're talking about you on Reddit. And I'm like, oh, I've made it big. I'm kicked off of every Watts forum because I've been trying to impart the truth. But somebody recommended my Queen of the Dirty South video. How nice. So then somebody went there, and it was really odd because their profile was only 2 days old. But they went on this just rant about me and how stupid I was and I didn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. And what I have to say, because they said that I didn't know because I said that, her hair was jet black like Veronica. It was. She started coloring it, and yeah, she went by the Veronica, and she did some freaky deaky shit, okay? And the other thing was, they were making fun of me, or she hashed me because I said that I said that the dad was an Italian stallion and whatnot. From my point, you guys know I am not trying to get sued. So if I go and put this whole story, I'm trying to put an image and a story together that kind of fits and kind of doesn't, enough that I have plausible deniability so that I'm not in a court getting sued by the Roos, having to give them my student loan debt, because that's all I have is my student loan debt. I don't have anything. If I put in there, oh yeah, the dad was Polish, long line of contractor. Come on, it's gonna be too perfect. So, but I wanted that image of the stronger dad, so I put it in there like the Italian stallion, because I know that from my background. I wanted that image, but I couldn't say Polish or it was going to be that. So anyway, the person didn't get the part where I say in my things, this is 80-20. 80% fact, 20% nonfiction, or reversed. We don't know. I am not looking to be sued. I'm trying to create an image. Part of it has to be nonfiction or fiction. Who knows? It's fiction or nonfiction. But like I said, I thought it was great that somebody liked it, and then this person went in there, just ripped it. Okay, Charlie, I agree. Chris was sleepwalking through life. I know. And then when she put those silly stickers, and I'm the first one who said silly stickers, so whoever copies saying silly stickers, that was from me, and you guys know that from my videos. So when people are like, oh, I like that you did that, and I see it on other creators thing, I'm like, hey, I did that. That was me. You guys know that from my beginning ones. He was like, I posted, okay, if you guys go to my community page, I found that horrible video that he did with the communication, and I think it's in somebody's living room. I think the sign behind him says live laugh love life love laugh, or live love laugh, whatever, right? He's in like a living room for this class on communication that she made him take, and you listen to it and it's got so much misinformation. I can't believe that they either taught it or he heard it that way. But if you listen to it in its entirety, and it's a long one, it's boring, but if you listen to it, it's creepy as to how it happened. And even put in there, if you're having communication problems, sometimes a baby can make things better. Like, no. As Dr. Phil says, you don't give a baby a job. No, 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 no. So when she put one sticker on it and it activated him and he was a little more lively, she liked it. He malfunctioned, she'd slap another silly sticker on him. And then there's people say, no, that this was a system where you had to have the two on it. I understand that. It's just part of the joke where I'm saying that. Oh, Brooks, don't you know she was top sales in everything. Top sales. Literally, that's what the mom, you have to listen to Discovery. I don't know if you've listened to my whole Discovery, Brooks, but Sandra wrote that to the cops in the Discovery, in all of it. She puts, that Shanann was top sales at the dealership, top sales. Special case, someone was, begging out Bonita. Oh, so maybe there's a couple people in there who are getting or stomping on us. That would make sense. I haven't heard anything from Bonita and Barbie in a while. She's not on? anymore. She I just kind of got in my own zone when I was doing the Discovery series, and I just wanted to finish it. It was really my way of getting through being in the big huge splint from hell. It was really my way to not focus on the pain and focus on something else. I try to not listen to other creators because I am a new creator and I want to be able to do the research on my own so I can back it up. I made the mistake of listening to somebody else in the beginning, and I repeated some of that misinformation. I'm trying to correct what I've done. Um, yeah, I think that she had, I think Beauty Fashion Girl, I think that she had um some good points in the beginning. Live, love, laugh. That's it. Oh, so she was, yeah, it didn't seem like she cared if she was getting harassed. She didn't care. But, Brooks, let's see. Special K. BB gave me a dressing down for posting long replies on her channel. I stopped immediately. I was trying to support her. Whoops. Yeah, you have to be careful. You have to be careful with her. My my only I I don't want, her and Mensa are still really good friends, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. So, do you all know about Frankie Jr.'s criminal past? Um, I know, Special K, I threw away all mine. Lies, live, love, and laugh. It was the first one to go. I know. I think that there was some really cute, like, black and white ones when they first came out. I was like, oh, what a wonderful sentiment. And then I was like, fuck that. It's not live, life. um, Charlie, the first house. Um, okay. Charlie, have you heard me talk about her nightly career? Um, Special K. Why? Yes, Miss CD. So, what do we say about the coincidence? Or is it a coincidence that both of Sandra's children abused children? I think that if Frankie Jr.'s truth came out, that he'd only met Cece the first time when they were in North Carolina, that time. Junior came out with Bella for a little while, but I don't think that Shanann wanted him around her girls. I think that she knew that he wasn't most patient. There are rumors of him having allegedly drug problems, and that's before what happened. So, yeah, he likes to beat up toddlers. He was charged with beating up his girlfriend's 2-year-old. So, if that truth comes out, if we can show the truth about how badly Shanann treated those girls, and Frankie Jr. has that, I'm not kidding. His freaking PayPal or his profile, if you go over and you see like his channel, it says, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. Here's my PayPal. I'm Shanann's little brother. Here's my PayPal address." He was not a huge part of her life. When he gets up and he's like, "You killed my whole family." You had never met Cece until the weeks before the unthinkable. Um, he wasn't a big part of it. The ruse weren't a big part of anything. When she was 18, her mom, Sandra, slapped her. Yeah, Mrs. Peacock, he abused his ex's child, but oh, we're not allowed to say anything about the ruse. And oh, Frankie, he's just this quintessential uncle. Wouldn't you love to move him into your house to be the uncle? Yeah. How about somebody do that? Um, I want to know why we have to be so quiet about the ruse truth. They come out here and they do this and they twist the narrative, and we're all supposed to be so quiet about it. Exactly, Miss Edie. It says that Sandra did it. Sandra was rough with her children. So her children are rough with their children. Well, no one's going to breed Junior, but anyway, the downward spiral on YouTube drama happened to me, happened to anyone. I never said a word in agreement. I got tossed out. Yeah. It's okay. Don't get a sore throat now. I had a sore throat the day after I did the coder interview. I was trying so hard not to laugh while I was doing the whole thing. You know, you're going to remember me tomorrow. I mean, I just like it when a creator can kind of say where they heard or saw something and they do their research. And when creators don't and they just sit there and talk shit, kind of bothers me. Absolutely, Brooks. And people think that he is wonderful. He makes his living now off of donations that people send him, as do his parents. They were not a close family. I did not see the at the restaurant grabbing her cup away. That's interesting. Thank you, Special K. I think that Frankie Sr. alone is a good man. I think that he alone was a good and kind grandfather and a good daddy to Shanann. She herself stated to that teacher that she was close to that she didn't feel loved by her parents, that her dad was away, that the only thing that she could say that her dad was always drinking, wasn't around for her. She didn't know her dad. Why did he drink? What drove him to drink? Well, the one who's always griping and bitching and moving people around like puppets. I want to see that. Special K, do you know where you saw it? Yeah, I agree, Diane. The problem is that he's getting away with it in the public because he puts on this persona and he puts up those pictures that were taken there in North Carolina up to everybody, and I'm sure that he's the one who runs the shining light thing. So everybody goes and they're giving him this pass now of, oh, you poor thing, because he goes, my whole family was killed. No. Your mom and dad are right there. They've always been there. Your sister, she yeeted the day when she was 18 and her mom slapped her. She didn't have anything to do with her mom. Christopher even said that Shanann can't deal with her mom on the phone. They do FaceTime and she talks to her dad. Thank you, Special K. My email address is tabithajane0@gmail.com. I know it's so confusing with that on the end because it looks like an O, but it's a 0. Mrs. Peacock, I agree. They were not able to be themselves. And in some of my other videos, or where I was reading from the Controlling People book, which I will get back to, um, it's a slow moving book, but it lays down how the problems with controlling parents, controlling people, end up defining who others are. That that by telling them who they are shapes it. And it was very much, the book was very much getting to who Bella was becoming by being defined. Special K, I don't know. I'll check. Okay, so the thing about the girls not having drinks, well, Shanann referred to it as fluid restriction, that they were on fluid restriction, okay? Inferring that the doctor did it. Okay. She put the girls to bed at 6:30 p.m. and would not, could not, did not allow them to come out until 6:30 in the morning. That's 12 hours. Okay? When they were in diapers, that was problematic because a 12-hour diaper doesn't even do it. So, SW was not happy about the pissy beds that she'd have to deal with in the morning from locking them up. She had to find a better solution, and her solution was then to not let them have fluid. Absolutely, the Tylenol, the Benadryl dries you up, absolutely. Cece was also on Singular. Mrs. Peacock, I do too. I have controlling tendencies, and I have to stop myself. I am the way that I am. Everybody to me has a clean slate, but when they messed up and they've hurt me, then I am more controlling in those areas, and that's the thing, is that people don't always understand why a wife would say something like that, or a husband would say something like that. Often there are deeper issues that stem from things, and so I have to be careful that, I'm not too much of a bitch, but, oh yeah, Special K, you sent me about the True Tam. Okay, thank you. And I went over to True Tam and subscribed, and I'll be looking forward to listening to her videos. True Tam looks like she's a cool woman. She looks like she's just down to earth and, ready to talk, right? The noise machines in their ears all night. Could you imagine? I mean, yes, thank you, Special K. Yeah. So before the daycare, it was 12 to 3. They were locked in their rooms, so 12 to 3, and then 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. So that's 15 hours out of a 24-hour day. So yeah, it continued on the weekends. Then when they were in school, that was obviously, not there. But I mean, I can't imagine making a poor little baby have a noise machine. And we could see that it was put up to the highest volume. She said she did not want those girls hearing her walking by the door. Oh, Mrs. Peacock, please listen to my Baby Wise video. My Baby Wise video went through this a lot. The best creator who really does this well is called Neeks Peaks, Neeks Peeks. Special K, absolutely. The speech delay also had to deal with them not being interacted with, not being listened to, not being able to spontaneously speak. If you think of any creature that you lock alone for 15 out of 24 hours, they're going to get withdrawn. They're not going to learn properly. The age before 5 is the biggest learning curve of your entire life. That's why you can learn a second language so easily if you live in a bilingual home. Before the age of 5, you'll know the two languages better than you could ever learn at any time. So the fact that she was basically dumbing them down is horrible. Thank you so much, Mrs. Peacock, for being open to listening and learning. The I think that Neeks Peaks does it best. I really do. Now for Neeks Peaks, I have to look at her videos in several tiny sections because they are very overwhelming and intense because of the level of abuse that you can observe. Now, there are the couple of times where you see that the girls are able to run in or whatever, or it is mentioned that they are. That's because Christopher was, when he went down for his breakfast, he then brought up the water bottle and Cece's milk and unlocked the doors for them. So then the doors were unlocked so they could get up and go into their bed, the parents' bed, and then sit there and watch TV and watch SW, spend 3 to 4 hours getting ready. And nap time again, right? But it wasn't, I think that there was a big concern in how little they were learning, and that's where it was suggested to socialize them before they get to school and whatnot, and why they got into daycare / Primrose as opposed to anywhere else, because she just didn't know how to work with them. She didn't know how to interact with them. She was stuck emotionally as a teenager, and she felt and acted like a babysitter who couldn't wait until somebody was there to come and take over. And everything that she did was a way to make her life easier. Beauty fashion girls. So, beauty fashion girls, about the nightly thermometer, right? The nightly rectal thermometer routine that she said the doctor said because the girls probably had familial Mediterranean fever. No doctor would ever recommend taking a child's temperature rectally. So every night, after Christopher bathed them and whatnot, Christopher would give them, lube up a thermometer and give the rectal temperature. And then they would get their Tylenol and Benadryl. My theory, because she would sometimes stand behind Christopher while he was doing this, and it is my opinion that she was blackmailing him, saying that she would be walking in on him essaying the girls. Because walking in on a man in the position that the girls were in, getting their rectal, it was disgusting. That's all I can say. There's a video, I think, on Neeks Peaks, and it has Bella. They locked Bella out with the child gate, so Bella was looking in as they were doing that to Cece, and she wanted a toy, and Shanann told her to go away, and Cece is like, yeah, screw that, gets up, gets her the turtle, and then Bella's so cute, and she's like, oh, I love it, I love it, I'm really... Child gate out there to keep Bella out, right? So beauty fashion goals, that's why we don't, do that. The thing is that, yeah, those monitors. So, yeah. So what if they had a high fever? Well, she give them the Tylenol and the Benadryl. She thinks she's got it covered. And she thought it was hilarious when she'd come in and the girls were covered with those blankets over their head. Special case, she wanted that. I mean, if she would have had that happen, the attention she would have gotten? Why was she in SIDS groups? She knew to never have anything loose in a crib. If she was this wonderful, wonderful, exemplary mother, why did she have blankets and pillows that could be moved and could have smothered those girls? and then laugh about it when she comes in and sees that the girls have the blankets over their head. The girls were trying to block out the sound of the rain machines. I would not be able to. Yeah, the Neek speaks about the noise machines. It's horrible, and she says that that's all from the Baby Wise, and that's why I read the Baby Wise and I did the Baby Wise video. Special K, you too. You have to do it about 3 times and just kind of break it down to absorb it. I do too. They're very intense. Yeah, the Beauty Fashion Goals, where it's where the girls look really bored and they can't sleep and really, it's so sad. They were not held. They were not cuddled. Yeah, for performances, for those Thrivalville commercials, they were held, but you could tell they weren't used to being held. They didn't bond right. I mean, there's a difference between a bond and a forced bond. And Bella breaks my heart because she really did love her mother no matter the way that her mother mistreated her. The trampoline one breaks my heart. Trampoline one was where, and I now do think that it was in North Carolina in the end, and they're on this trampoline, and Bella and Cece start jumping, and Shanann just snaps at Bella, and I can't remember which set of grandparents. Gosh, I guess it must have been her parents. I can't remember. Because was this before Wattsgate? Was it the Watts? I can't remember the grandparents because I'm just so horrified by what happened with Bella. She snapped and she said, Bella cannot jump. And Bella just got down and she got in like this. She went into like what an animal does and gets as close to her, covering her belly where she'd be vulnerable to an attack as she can. Just getting so small and just hovering and just shuddering and looking up out of the corner of her eye as to what her mother's going to do. And then Cece is allowed. And so then, Bella kind of comes up and then she's like, rawr, rawr, rawr. And then Shannon's like, oh, good job scaring Cece. Why can't she? Oh, well, because she sent a picture of Bella's ankle at some point, and Chris says, oh, looks dislocated. And Shanann says, yes, she may have to have special shoes at some point. Like, okay, if you think something is wrong, where does this special shoe? So you're saying that, she's got this deformity or whatever if you think something is wrong. But a child jump and play to the limits in which their body will let them. Their body will stop them. If she couldn't have jumped for whatever reason, but she was putting this narrative that, oh, Bella couldn't walk and Bella couldn't jump and all this. But, oh, Cece could do whatever she wants and Bella could watch her and encourage her, but she couldn't do it on herself. Why? Was that at the Watts house? Mrs. Peacock, I don't know where the trampoline one. We've got to find it. We'll find it. Another Anadarko fundraiser for special shoes. Yes, because supposedly they had to get a special pillow or whatever for Cece. I don't know, or both of the girls for their asthma or whatever, right? And so she had Chris ask for money for it because for some reason, if she's making more than him and he's making that, they couldn't afford these special pillows. And the thing is okay, if you have a baby that has reflux or asthma, and they do say that your baby needs to be propped up on a pillow, what you do, if the baby, is still small enough, like under 2, whatnot, whatever, which I don't even know if that was the right age, but what you do is you put the pillow under the sheet. So the pillow is not able, so the child's not able to get under the pillow or too close to the pillow where they can't breathe. But you put it under the sheet and then put baby propped up on there. And That's how you do it. I think she was setting him up to blackmail. If she wasn't, I think that she was saying, "Hey, I have this film. You want to go somewhere? He'll go down. You'll go down. I'll say I walked in on you doing it." And he knew that she would. He knew he had no chance. And so they bought that for the girls. You know, Chris, I totally believe that. And I put up a picture the other day. It was in the Discovery. It shows that Chris took some family pictures, or some pictures of the pictures that were on the walls at his home. And it shows a young Christopher. And Christopher looks exactly like Bella. Cece does not look like Bella, does not look like Chris Watts. There are a lot of people who put things together that they've sent me, and they show Chris, the other Chris, and Cece. You can tell it's in the mouth, it's in the chin, it's all of that. You know, yes, she has the part where she looks like SW, so Bella and that do. And I did that, and I got jumped so bad by somebody, and they were like, "You're just trying to do this for subscribers and money. No one would say that." Well, how come Discovery, they went and they took paternity buccal samples from Christopher Watts to establish paternity on the fetus? That's in the Discovery. The results aren't in the Discovery. And then you can say, "Oh yeah, well the Ruse said that they got the results from the paternity tests, and it was Christopher Watts." Why would the Ruse? Why would the Ruse get the results of the paternity test? The Ruse didn't father the baby. The results of the paternity test would be given to the father. The Ruse may have, if Christopher Watts was the father, he could have shared it with them, and that's how. But we cannot say, "Oh, because the Ruse said that, yeah, Nico was Christopher Watts's," which implies they knew that the paternity test was there, because there was something and more things saying that the paternity was questionable. Um, let's see. The trampoline video. They bought a pool for them too. Oh yeah, she favored Cece. Cece got to do anything she wanted to. And all of the punishment and anger was taken out at Bella. And that goes to the narrative that she resented Bella because Bella was Watts's. Becky, yes, in the end, there is the buccal swap, and it says paternity. It is ultimately in the Discovery series that I did. It ultimately did say that it was for paternity for the fetus. Charisse? So excited. Becky Boo, I agreed that, they could have just done it just as a routine. I totally agree. Because they did DNA cards for all of them, at autopsy. So I don't know if they went through on every single one of them and did it. It doesn't show, but it does show that they took the buccal swabs, and it does say in another area for the paternity of the fetus. Um, the thing is of course, to do it on her own. Eh, I don't know on that. I mean, I don't see a way. I think that, if she got that drunk, she could have went to him and been like, "This baby isn't even yours. You think you can get this from screwing around? Well, look at me." We don't know what happened that day. Um, there are creators that went with that narrative that, she tried to do an blah 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 blah, but she would have had an infection. and sepsis, and it doesn't really, I don't know on that one. Um, they're not being harassed. It's them. They bring every single thing on themselves, and any creator who says anything against what they say gets all of this. So who would possibly harass them? Do you know what I mean? Um, so I think Chris, that probably in the beginning when she found out she was pregnant again, she probably freaked out and probably went to NA and her mom and was like, "Oh, I've got to get rid of this kid, and what do I do?" And you know, maybe that's when she had the bright idea of overdosing with the oxy. I don't know, or um, she wasn't taking care of herself and wasn't eating because she didn't care if she lost the baby. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot there that if she's such this wonderful mother, why wasn't she showing these healthy things she was eating and whatnot? Why was it every day? Well, I didn't eat, I didn't drink, and I haven't pooped in 2 weeks. Yeah, Charisse, they absolutely are. They get so much money. They turn it around and say that the Watts have gotten this money and the Watts did this. No. Um, like I say, the very first few days that Christopher was in jail, Frankie Rusick was there to have him sign over power of attorney for all of the estate of Shanann and everything else to deal with all of that. He took the Lexus to North Carolina, the car, um, the um, the he took a 30,000 out of the account, I think in week 3 or 4, 30 or 35,000. So it was like to pay for the funerals and to pay the expenses for their emotional distress right there. So he had that right away. He took from the estate. So he might have collected any other monies and whatnot. And then the Roos filed the $6 million wrongful death suit against him and won. So any monies coming in would have, of course, continued to funnel them to them. So this baloney that the Watts sued the Rusicks for insurance money and everything, it's really sad. There's creators out there saying that. Christopher said, take any of the money, take it all. The Watts didn't ask for anything and have not received anything. Meanwhile, the Roos made this beautiful outdoor kitchen and live off of the money. They've gotten how many times overpaid for the funerals. They had GoFundMe's. They had all of this. They still get a lot of money to this day. Now, the thing is that if she was at 15 weeks, she wasn't. Okay? I believe that she was a month behind what she was saying because she had to line it up to when she had relations with him. But yeah, exactly, Charisse. The backyard kitchen. The funerals were paid for. I can track that over 3 times by different funds. That they say were for the funerals. Well, and if Anadarko did a fund for the funeral, then yeah, the funerals had another, how much? I mean, it's just crazy. If you were, okay, on your 3rd pregnancy, you can start to feel things a little earlier, in my experience. Well, the first baby, it took a long time before I really felt a kick, and I think maybe that was like 12 to 16 weeks. It was earlier with my 2nd and even earlier with my 3rd, just because I knew what to feel for. I never once saw her saying anything like, oh, the baby kicked, or, oh, wow, I felt this, or it was all about her. It really was. I agree, Becky. They lost their son and their grandkids, and they had done everything right, raising a good boy, a good man. He was just he was a good mark, you know. He was a good kid. He didn't hurt anybody. He wouldn't hurt anybody. Just a single guy, and her track record up to that wasn't this easygoing person who never hurt anybody. What? Okay. I just got the 15-minute call. So let's see. I've got to end in 15 minutes. The man said. The man said it. I gotta go ask him about his special calculator. Um, Becky Boo, the insurance on the kids was so strange. Okay, so Chris, you said you have a friend where she put her life on Facebook and her hubby let her too. She couldn't do anything without posting. It was all about her. Right, right. Um, okay, so my daughter was in competitive cheer, and the cheer parents were all this image, right? And this one that looked like they were the most in love. I mean, they would post all the time, and she would take pictures of the iris of her eye and talk about how she even loved the color of the blue eyes, just as her husband did as he looked into her eyes. And they were absolutely the couple that everybody thought was so in love, because she was doing it in every 2 freaking minutes, even at the cheer comps. Well, they're in the bleachers, her posting about their love and everything. Well, it came out that, I mean, he was having this affair. I mean, this whole other, like, wife from somebody else. And there was domestic violence charges. He left her high and dry and whatnot. And the of the whole cheer thing, like, when the girls got to their senior year, you could count it one after the other. Okay, that one looked the second most perfect. That one looked the third most perfect. Divorce, 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 divorce. They were all waiting, until their kid got, to that age. And I didn't ever post anything about us except for I post on our anniversary. And here we are, the only ones really out of I guess there's two of us that are still together. But that one, I mean, she was an absolute SW. And it was just all about her and her freaking eyeball. And I told my husband, I was like, you better not talk to her. And he's like, she's good people. And I'm like, you and her eyeball better never look at each other. Yeah, Charisse. Oh, you think I better get a brown bikini while I'm out there? Ooh, yeah, special kick. Get my bikini. Scare the shit out of people. Charisse, yeah, I think so. Well, here's the thing, because she had, so NA was getting the mail when Shanann was out of town. He was home that Saturday. I think that there was mail on that passenger seat of that Lexus. When he opened up that Lexus, what was he grabbing? I think it was the mail he got on Saturday, and he probably saw that, yeah, the sheriff's coming to foreclose that house, so he was waiting to have a discussion with her when she came home too. I agree. I agree, Charisse. Hi, objection overruled. How are you? I'm just getting ready to hop off. The man said he gave me my 10-minute warning, 15-minute warning. Um, Exactly, the real people do not post everything. If things are genuinely happening, you're too busy with them. When she was on the couch moping, making this video about, I'm gonna be a better mother, I'm gonna be a better promoter, and I'm gonna be a better wife, and I'm gonna do this, and no one can stop me, and the haters can't stop me, and I'm gonna do this and everything. And you see Christopher on the ground, sitting with the girls, like on the tile from the front door, because like I said, I don't think they were allowed to put their asses on the carpet or anything. He is the one sitting on the ground playing with the girls. He is at their level. He knows to come down eye level with the girls. He knew to sit down with them. He knew how to interact with them. She's on the other side of the room talking to who? About how she's going to do all these things. But if she would have just sat down with them or let them get on the carpet, if she would have sat down at their level, she would have done more than sitting there talking about it ever would have done. You know? Exactly. All of the best times. No camera in sight. No cameras anywhere from me. Oh, no, I know. Yeah, he won't even look at her in that video. He is so down and dejected. He's absolutely Bella. You guys, thank you for joining me here. Keep your questions ready and we'll do this again. Tonight was just kind of spontaneous. I had some extra time. I didn't need to do anything. And I was like, well, wow, why don't I just do this? Thank you so much for being along on the journey. Thank you so much for your kind words. The video that I uploaded that is new, the Random Thoughts with Tabitha Jane. I kind of expressed some of the frustration I had this week. So if you guys want something to put you to sleep, you know, go ahead. There's a new video. But thank you all for being here with me. I love you all. And thank you so much for getting me through the rotator cuff surgery and everything kind that you all do. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Special K. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Beauty Fashion Goals. Thank you, guys. Have a great Sunday tomorrow. I agree, Charisse. We talked in the beginning. We do that too. I believe his first confession. Thanks, Brooks. Chris, I did this for you guys to have something to sleep to. I'm better than Ambien. Hi, Face in the Crowd. We're just getting ready to go, so you'll have to be on the replay crowd. Thanks, Charlie Hobo. Thank you so much. Oh, Special K, you just started Handmaids? Oh, I know. And I am going to watch it a second time because I realized that I slept through half of it. Because I was just on, trying to, not think too much about the pain I was in. So I was doing this and watching all 5 seasons of The Handmaids. And now I'm going back through it and I missed a lot now that I know how it ends. Yeah, there's a couple of cringe scenes that I have to cover my eyes from. But, oh, it's so good. It's so good. We can talk about Handmaid's Tale one of these days. Objection overruled. Thank you so much. Charisse, oh, yeah, I know, because Boo's about ready to come up here and start glaring at me. Special K. Okay. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much. Have a great, ooh, up to season, oh, you're getting it. Oh my gosh. All right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.